So do you love manipulate people?
I think we all try to manipulate people, even through a radio show or through a news article. You're trying to manipulate people into believing a certain thing. And whether you think that is good or bad is something you have to answer for yourself. For our games, we make fitness games and health games. And so people are very clear what we're trying to do. We say it on the game description. This is a game that will make you run more. This is a game that will make you walk more. And so they know that we are trying to manipulate them to run more and to walk more. And what's more, I think those are good things. I think it is a good thing for people to run more and walk more. I think it's good that they get healthy. And so I'm not so bothered about how I do it, but I'm a little bit more worried about how other companies might do it.
Sure. Is it something that is trendy, or is just that we recently make it clear and evident that manipulation is kind of everywhere?
I think that gamification is very trendy, although actually I think it's starting to become a bit less trendy because it's not really that effective. Part of the reason why it became so popular is because as we started to use computers and to use mobile phones and the internet to measure lots of things, it became a lot more easy to put gamification techniques into a lot of places. So now that we have pedometers that can measure our steps all the time, and we didn't have that, not connected to a computer at least, 10 years ago, it's just really easy to go and add these badges in. Or you can do the same thing for answering emails or things like that. Whereas, imagine if you tried to do that for people writing diary entries on a piece of paper or writing letters. It's just too cumbersome. But now that we do everything through mobile phones or computers, it's easy to gamify everything.
We're studying design, and it seems that gamification is embodied in design. Do you think we're kind of a new era of designing things, thinking of the way we're gonna manipulate people in the good way of saying it?
Well, I think that the design is changing so much, and ever since Apple became the world's most profitable company, everyone's obsessed with design because it's so people have so much more choice in what they can buy, and because the technology is kind of getting easier, we have to be very careful as designers to think about the effect that we're going to have on users, given how many people might use a product. Design of a digital product or an app or a website is just as important as how you design a road or how you design a car or how you design a city. Like you can design a road in a way that makes it very accessible for disabled people, for wheelchairs, right? Or you could design a road in a way that is just really dangerous and that people get hit by cars, right? And we know those are really important things, but for some reason we don't seem to think that designing Facebook, which is being used by 1 billion people every day or however many it is really not as important. I mean, they think it's important, but we should think it's important as well, and I don't think we do.
You wrote a book about the 100 objects that will change our lives in a sense. Why not? Would it be the hundreds of applications or something more digital that would change our lives?
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was going to write it as just physical objects, but actually in the book I do have software and I do have apps and things like that in it. It's harder to write a book that is just about intangible things, it without it just sounding completely abstract. And so most of the objects are physical. Because I suppose I could say, the history of the future is just one object, which is a virtual reality headset, and that's it, and you spend all your time in virtual reality. I don't think it's a very interesting book. So there are other things I wanted to talk about there.
You're a neuroscientist, sorry. And do you think our brain is changing because you say it's more and more abstract things or intangible things in our lives? Do you think that it's a part of the human evolution in our brain that we're going to think different, be more able to abstract ourselves from reality, or we're still the same?
Well, I mean, human evolution takes place over literally tens or hundreds or hundreds of thousands or millions of years. And so nothing that happens with iPhones or Facebook is really going to change human evolution anytime soon. But it is worth saying that the human brain is extremely adaptable. You can lose half your brain. Literally, you can destroy half your brain, and you will still be capable of functioning. That shows how versatile the brain is. And we have studies that show that if you're a taxi driver, your hippocampus is bigger than other people's because you need to have so much more memory. And so, of course, if you use touch screens all day and if you don't, go out as much, then that's going to change your brain. But our brains, in the year 2015, are already very different from our brains from 4,000 years ago when we didn't have TVs and we were outside all the time. We didn't have artificial lights. So I find it difficult to get too worried or upset about what's happening to our brains. I know we're going to be okay. It's going to be fine.
Okay, cool.